In an opening scene before the credits, the assassin Bernard is seen preparing a gun while a gramophone sticks as it plays. The story that follows is the narrative of a letter from Howard Graham, an American armaments engineer, to his wife Stephanie. While journeying to the Soviet port of Batumi to return to the United States to complete his business with the Turkish Navy, Graham and his wife stop in Istanbul and are met by Kopakin, a Turkish employee of Graham's company. Under the pretense of discussing business, he takes Graham to a nightclub to introduce him to the dancer Josette Morettel and her partner Gogo. Bernard tries unsuccessfully to kill Graham during a magic act but shoots the magician instead. Graham is brought to the headquarters of the Turkish secret police for questioning, where Colonel Harki blames the assassination attempt on German agents seeking to delay the rearming of Turkish ships. The colonel shows Graham a photograph of Bernard, who he says was hired by a Nazi agent named Muller. Harki then orders Graham to travel secretly to Batumi aboard a tramp steamer, and Harki personally oversees the safe overland transit of Stephanie. Graham's fellow passengers include Josette and Gogo, Kuvvetli, an ingratiating Turkish tobacco salesman, Professor Haller, an apolitical German archaeologist, and the henpecked Matthews and his French wife. Josette sees that Graham is frightened. Not knowing that he is married, she tries to become close to him. At an interim port call, Graham is made aware of the arrival of a new passenger by the annoying clamor of a gramophone. Haller warns him that Kuvvetli is not who he claims to be. At dinner, Graham recognizes Bernard and tries to persuade the ship's captain and purser to put him ashore, but they believe that he is crazy. Graham turns to Josette for help. She has Gogo engage Bernard in a poker game while Graham unsuccessfully searches Bernard's cabin for the assassin's gun. When Graham returns to his own cabin, he is met by an armed Haller. Graham deduces that he is actually Muller, who offers to spare Graham's life by delaying his return to the US for 6 weeks by having him taken to a hospital with a case of typhus. Muller warns him that Kuvvetli is a Turkish agent sent by Harki and warns Graham that he will be killed if he confides the plan to the Turk. Kuvvetli was eavesdropping from the next cabin, however, and informs Graham that Muller's plan is just a scheme to get Graham away from the ship before he murders him. Kuvvetli instructs Graham to pretend to agree to the plan but, before the ship docks in Batumi, to hide himself in an empty cabin while the Turkish agent arranges for the arrest of the German agents. When Graham goes to the empty cabin, he finds Kuvvetli dead on the floor, murdered by Bernard. Graham asks Matthews to deliver a message to the Turkish consul in Batumi to notify Harki. Matthews gives the unarmed Graham a pocket knife. Graham runs into Gogo, who bluntly offers to give up Josette for Graham to marry for a cash consideration. Muller and Bernard coerce Graham into a waiting car. When the car has a flat tire, Graham jams Matthews' pocket knife into the horn and, in the ensuing commotion, jumps into the driver's seat, crashes the car into a shop window, and escapes. That night, as a storm rages, Graham joins his wife at their hotel, but Muller arrives there first by impersonating a co-worker from Graham's company. Bernard intimidates Graham from leaving and Muller persuades Stephanie to join Harki downstairs while he talks business with Graham. He leaves Graham to be killed by Bernard, but Gogo enters the room to promote his deal for Josette and Bernard shoots at him. Graham flees out of the room's window onto the cornice of the building in the torrential rain, pursued by Bernard and Muller. Trapped between them, he is saved when Harki appears and shoots Muller. Bernard wounds Harki but, blinded by the rain, misses Graham. The two struggle, and Bernard falls to his death. Back in the present, Harki tells Graham as he finishes the letter that Stephanie is waiting for him but wonders why the engineer took decisive action when he had been so indecisive earlier. Graham tears up the now completed letter and tells Harki, "I got mad. Spent too much time running away.